This is KGW News at noon.
We start with new information this afternoon about a deadly stabbing in the Irvington neighborhood of Northeast Portland. Police say they found a man lying dead in the driveway of a home there. Thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm Drew Carney. Police say the stabbing happened this morning at about 7 o'clock. KGW's Brian Clerkley is standing by live in the Irvington neighborhood with the latest on this. Brian, what can you tell us so far?
Hey, Drew, I'm here on Northeast 18th Avenue, and you can see that the crime scene tape has just come down behind me, and police are still canvassing the area, and neighbors say they are shocked that someone was murdered on this street. Police say the man was found lying in a driveway just after 7 this morning. The victim had multiple stab wounds and was dead. Homicide detectives are on scene and will continue investigating, and people who live in the neighborhood say that this is very unusual and they don't feel very safe anymore.
Well, I came up on the bike corridor. It's very unusual to have the bike corridor blocked off. Yeah, it's very unusual. This is a heavily walked neighborhood. People walk everywhere. The sidewalks are used, and it's unusual to see kind of crime on the street in this neighborhood.
And Northeast 18th Street continues to be shut down, but it could be opening up soon because police just took that crime scene tape down. Now, Tillamook from 16th to 20th was shut down during the investigation, and we're not sure if it's still shut down, but we will check that, and we'll continue following this story. As we get more information, you can find more details on our website, kgw.com. Drew?
All right, Brian Clerkley reporting live for us this afternoon in Northeast Portland. Also topping our headlines this afternoon, power is back on for thousands of PGE and Pacific Power customers after what was a long weekend. Both companies shut off power in several areas around Oregon because of strong east winds and extreme wildfire conditions. That includes some neighborhoods in Portland's West Hills. KGW's Blair Best shows us what families in that part of town went through before the power came back on.
Going on 48 hours with no electricity.
We're all reading. It's very prehistoric over here.
On Thursday, an emergency notice was sent to families in the Northwest Hills saying power would be shut off for 12 hours as a safety precaution due to extreme wildfire conditions and high winds. It's Sunday morning and still dark, putting people like Zara Hanan, who works from home, in a tough spot.
PGE won't give us a solid answer because at first they said it's undetermined, and then they said it'll come on at 6 a.m. And then they said 10 a.m. It's now 10 a.m. and it's still not on.
Hanan has called Portland General Electric multiple times.
They were like, you are the 370th person who has called today. And it was like, okay.
Hanan says her family wasn't prepared for the outage to last this long.
We had flashlights and lanterns for after the sun went down, but they all ran out of power after 48 hours.
All the food in their fridge has now gone bad.
We're gonna have to throw like half of it away now because it's melted.
I went and bought some ice and put it in the fridge and the freezer, and we have 2 fridges and 2 freezers, and I don't think that did any good at all.
Elizabeth Daly lives a few doors down. She's worried what will happen if they don't quickly get the power back.
We're on a septic, and it has a pump, and we've been told the septic can go for about 3 days as long as you're not doing, heavy equipment, which of course we aren't because you have no electricity, but we are getting a little nervous.
It also just seems unfair because they said it would be to prevent the fires from coming in, but the closest fire is like 80 miles away.
We reached out to Portland General Electric early this morning to try and figure out what's been going on. And those at PGE tell us that the homes in this part of the Northwest Hills are one of 10 public safety power shutoff areas. And the power will only be turned back on if conditions are safe.
I think that the electric company could give us a better explanation as to why.
Neighbors say the outages don't make sense, given not everyone in the area is without power.
Our neighborhood in this little bubble is without power, but everyone around us is with power.
PGE opened 5 community resource centers where people affected by the outages can get supplies, access Wi-Fi, and charge their phones. They will continue to update people on the status of the outages on their website and social media.
It just sucks because when the power does eventually come back on, there's not going to be any accountability.
In Northwest Portland, Blair Best, KGW News.
The threat of wildfires is lower now with temperatures dropping and the east winds dying down. Air quality advisories are still in place, but only east of the Cascades. That being said, wildfire smoke did cover most of Oregon and southwest Washington over the weekend. We talked to some experts who recommend weatherproofing your windows and your doors to keep the air inside your home as safe as possible. They also recommend running your central air, or if you don't have central AC, even running your furnace on low can help keep air freshly circulating throughout your house. And of course, you should also make sure to replace your air filters. You should also try to have a Rod Hill on hand to tell you about the latest with the weather details. Rod, what do you have for us this afternoon?
Well, I'm the bearer of good news. You know, we have a mixture of cloudiness and still some wildfire smoke up top. And the air quality is mostly, see the yellow dots, in the moderate range. The worst of the air, all the red unhealthy dots, that's still up in eastern Washington, Idaho, and that's continuing to push away from us. So then there are a few spots reporting good air quality. But the good news is, beyond what I just mentioned, is the fact that there's no reason to believe our air quality will worsen. In fact, it's going to continually improve, probably a little bit even today, and then a whole bunch tomorrow. We started the day with air quality advisories down around Eugene, Newport, Lincoln State, Albany. Those advisories were allowed to expire at 11 o'clock this morning. So no air quality advisories at all on this side of the Cascades. Still Bend, they're dealing with the heavy smoke from the Cedar Creek fire, and then areas across eastern Oregon still under air quality advisories. Real quick, this model shows you smoke. The blue color over I-5 is light smoke. The thicker smoke that's really problematic is more of the orange colors. And as I play this into tomorrow, notice how even the light smoke starts to clear out. Here's a look at what is really more clouds than smoke at this point, but still a bit of a mixture. We're at 69 degrees. I have us getting up to 77. I think both the clouds and the smoke will be thinning somewhat this afternoon. So again, Drew, moderate air quality up and down I-5 right now. We could be back in the good category as soon as tomorrow, sir.
All right, well, we'll have more from Rod coming up here shortly. Right now, we want to get back to some of our local headlines. Students in Ridgefield are out of school again today as teachers there continue to strike. The teachers union met with the district a couple of times this weekend, but they couldn't come to terms on a new contract. We're talking about 200 educators and other staff in Ridgefield who went on strike Friday morning. The last time this happened, 4 years ago, back in 2018. Teachers in Ridgefield are demanding things like smaller class sizes, better wages, and also stronger support systems for special education students.
For me, why is there such high turnover in special ed? I think the issue speaks for itself. They don't feel supported, they don't feel valued, and they aren't given the support they needed to feel like they're making a difference.
There are certain things that the district is just not able to accommodate, right? So, you know, we do feel like our offer is quite fair and has already made substantial movement towards those asks.
So we heard from both sides there, teachers and the district. Both sides say they have found common ground on pay increases. The two sides, though, will get back to the table once again later this afternoon. In fact, they're expected to meet in less than an hour, starting at 1 o'clock to hammer out other parts of the contract. All right, now to an update to another story that we've been following. 3 people were arrested over the weekend for setting more than 24 fires around Mount Tabor Park in southeast Portland all over the past month. The 3 were caught Saturday night. Officials say these fires weren't big, but even small fires can cause big problems when they're able to grow and people don't catch them quick enough. Most of these fires that we're talking about were started at nighttime. The 3 people who were arrested now face arson charges. Yesterday, Americans paused to remember those who lost their lives in the terror attacks 21 years ago on September 11th, 2001. President Biden marked the 21st anniversary at the Pentagon, where he vowed to fight terrorism and fight for democracy. Here's more from our partners at NBC News.
We remember 9/11, the horror.
All across the country, Americans came together to remember. At Ground Zero in New York City, the pain of family members still deep 21 years later.
Daughter, Maria Ramirez. Maria, I don't know when this weight in my chest is gonna go away, but it's gonna be there, I guess, until they lay me down beside you.
Uncle Jimmy, I'm so proud to be named after you. You are my hero.
At the World Trade Center site, where more than 2,700 people lost their lives, Vice President Kamala Harris joined victims honoring their loved ones.
Karen J. Wagner.
At the Pentagon, where another 184 people were killed on 9/11, President Biden vowed to defend the nation from terrorism.
It took 10 years to hunt down and kill Osama bin Laden, but we did.
Finally, at a crash site at an open field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, the First Lady honored the 40 passengers and crew of United Flight 93.
To the memories that live on in us each day, this is the legacy we must carry forward.
In cities and towns from coast to coast, the country paused to remember and renew the vow to never forget. In Washington, I'm Drew Petrimo, NBC News.
If our fire engines can't reach where we're going to get there one way, shape, or form. If there's people that are hurting, we will respond no matter what the situation.
In Portland, a ceremony honored local firefighters who flew to New York to respond to the attack 21 years ago. Yesterday, the Portland Fireboat delivered this demonstration on the river as pipes and drums rang out in the background there. There were also speeches at Portland Fire Station 1, located on Southwest Nadeau Parkway. All right, here's another local headline we're following this afternoon. Jewelry thieves are targeting victims right outside their homes, and now the Washington County Sheriff's Office is looking for help to find the suspects. In the past few days, deputies have received 3 similar reports talking about a pair of thieves who use suspicious tactics to steal from their victims. The total losses are over $10,000. One of the alleged victims is Thomas Xavier. He says just before noon last Thursday, the 2 suspects pulled up outside his home in Beaverton, called him over to their car. He said a man was driving. There was a woman in the passenger seat. She asked to give him a necklace. She wanted to give him a necklace. She wanted to put it on his neck. He let her. But he also, in the process, let her take his gold necklace off. He said he had no idea that she had taken the gold necklace until the couple was gone.
No, I'm a bit confused what's happening, you know. Why did you accept all this? I was like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Why did I do that? So I took out the necklace in front of her, and that's when I felt, oh, my necklace is gone.
In Cedar Mill, an elderly woman says her engagement ring was taken in a similar ploy. A different man, also in Cedar Mill, says money was taken from his wallet. Police released this security camera footage of a white Jeep Cherokee that they say they believe the suspects are driving. It has California plates. They say they also might be driving other vehicles, including a blue or gray cargo van with no black windows. If you have any information about this case, you're asked to call the Washington County Sheriff's Office